Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. It is springtime and bears are starting to emerge from their dens in search of food. Well, have you seen a bear already this season? And what are the bear precautions you take? In about half an hour, your chance to thank a healthcare worker in your life. Is there a doctor, a nurse, or hospital worker who's made a big difference for you? It's your chance to say thank you. We'll speak with a Creston woman who recently went through emergency brain surgery, and we'll hear why she really wants to thank the surgeon and the hospital. I'm Michelle Elliott. Welcome to BC Today. Thank you for joining us on CBC Radio 1, CBC Television, and live streaming on the CBC News app, also cbc.ca/BC, and on the CBC Vancouver YouTube page. And do call us now on our top story. As bears are emerging from hibernation, people are starting to have their bear sightings. We want to hear if you've seen one already. Have you encountered a bear? And what are the precautions that you take? You can call us 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. Hit pound 690 on your cell phone. You can email us now too. It's bctoday@cbc.ca or text us 236-330-2623. Well, this spring break, many of us have been out on trails and mountains and hills. I certainly spent some time out and about while I was off on spring break. I'm making plans too for this long weekend. It is looking to be sunny for most of the province. But guess who else is out there already? That's right, bears. They are coming out of hibernation and they are seeking food. Along with them, bats and snakes. Let us know, have you seen a bear already this spring? And what are the bear precautions that you take? You can call us 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, pound 690 on your cell phone. If you'd like to write your comments in, it's bctoday@cbc.ca. You can text us at 236-330-2623. Well, joining me now is Gabriella de Romery, Communications Coordinator from WildSafe BC. Hello, Gabriella.
Hi, how are you?
I am well, thank you very much. Have you had a bear sighting already this spring?
I have not yet,
No.
but I'm sure it'll happen soon.
Yeah, exactly. Just waiting. I was at a trail last Sunday and just keeping an eye out and certainly trying to talk to my family as we were walking along. What is the behavior that we can expect from bears right now?
So it does depend on region and community. If we're talking BC-wide, it is normal for bears to emerge out of their dens around April. Males are usually first, followed by the mothers and their cubs later on. But this year, we are hearing the conversations of bears waking up early, potentially this year. And that comes to a number of different environmental reasons. But it does bring up a little bit of concern that potentially these bears are waking up before their earliest food sources become available. And that means that they might be a little bit more inclined to look for food sources in those urban centers.
Go further into the cities. And so this time of year, if we're talking this week, I've seen a friend of mine in North Vancouver post seeing a baby bear already along the side of the road. Would that be considered early?
Yeah, it would be early. I mean, March is a time that we would expect to see them. In different regions, bears can actually only do a temporary kind of denning where they're not actually sleeping the whole winter away. They're just sleeping for a number of days or weeks, and then they come out periodically. I'm based out of the Fraser Valley. I am the communications coordinator, but I'm also the Fraser Valley coordinator. And so that's the narrative down here, is that our bears actually don't hibernate at all typically, and we can see them around Christmas and New Year's.
What do they do in that version of denning?
Well, it's basically just a shorter version of
Yeah.
what we typically understand as hibernation. Their heart rate still slows, their metabolism still slows. However, they're not exactly asleep for 3 months or 4 months straight. They're sleeping for some days, maybe a week, and then they do leave the den, wander around a little bit, maybe grab a drink to eat. A little bit of a drink or a bite to eat. And then, they go and sleep away until the spring when all of their food sources come back.
Okay, so for those, and tell us, by the way, you said it's different based on what region you're in. What about if your region has black bears, and whether you're up further north and you're looking at grizzly bears there?
Yeah, black bears and grizzly bears, they're both going to do this hibernation behavior. And if if basically there's more snow and it is colder temperatures, then bears can sleep a little bit longer, more further into April. And they do that hibernation to ensure that they're not up and about and spending that energy when there's no food source available for them in the winter. Because bears are about 80%, at least black bears, they're about 80% plant-based in their diet. So they actually do really, really need the berries and vegetation that comes about in the spring or starts to in the spring. So yeah, that's why they tend to sleep it off and then just hang out when the food is available, which is a great idea.
Yeah, and that's why it is so important to really control your attractants. And we'll talk a bit about that as well. My guest is Gabriella De Romeri, communications coordinator from WildSafe BC, but also the Fraser Valley coordinator as well. And we're asking you if you have seen a bear already. Might be a bit early at this point, but that may be something that occurs this year. And what are the encounters that you have had with a bear? What are the precautions that you take? Our numbers again, 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, and you can hit pound 690 on your cell phone. Let's go further east now to Wendell, and Carrie is on the line. Hi, Carrie. You see bears fairly frequently, I imagine?
All the time.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Have you seen one already this spring?
No, I have yet to see one this spring, but they will be waking up pretty soon. We actually know our bears in our area. They're just the same ones keep coming back all the time.
Right. Okay, so tell me about what life is like with these bears that you know, and what you try to do to stay bear aware.
First of all, I learned a little while back that if I put ghost pepper sauce on top of my garbage bags, that the bears don't come anymore. They'll stay away. In fact, if you want to keep good bears off just about anything, a little splash of ghost pepper sauce on anything you want bears to not touch works like a charm.
Ghost pepper sauce. Is this, I'm so sorry, I'm not familiar with ghost pepper sauce?
It's one of the most powerful, what do you call it? Like the spice level.
Yeah.
It's one of the highest levels.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So, a bear's sense of smell is something like 20 times better than a human.
Right.
So you can imagine that if that bothers you, what it's going to do to the bear. It's the same effect essentially as pepper spray.
Mm-hmm. And so you've done this yourself. What impact did it have? What effect did it have?
Well, the bear used to steal my garbage bags. Well, he would actually take my garbage cans and drag them into the bush and then go at my garbage. And he also has a little technique where he whacks the garbage can and knocks it over. But he doesn't do that anymore. Like last time he would come back and he would smell the garbage cans, and that's it. He won't come back anymore.
Not having any of that ghost pepper sauce.
Yeah, it really works it works perfectly well. You can pretty much splash it on any area that you don't want them, where they frequently come into your property, and they'll stay away.
Okay. Well, Carrie, thank you very much for the tip.
Yeah.
And do you like the ghost pepper sauce, or too strong for you as well?
No, I'm allergic to capsicum.
Oh, you were allergic to capsicum, so no pepper for you at all.
I can't do it.
Be careful when you're spreading it around then.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the call, Carrie.
Okay.
Take care. Let's go back. That was really interesting. Ghost pepper sauce. So yesterday on the news, someone mentioned pine salt. What are those substances that can act as deterrents? And he said, their sense of smell is just so strong that strong pepper can really deter them. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I do actually have something to add to that. We do a lot of education around bear spray, and that is the main ingredient in bear spray, of course, is that capsaicin pepper. And one of the talking points that we actually share is that once you do discharge bear spray, and that capsaicin oil is essentially out in the environment and potentially coating different, trees or plants around you once it's been discharged, you actually do want to leave the area, because that scent can attract wild animals. So
Oh,
I'm not familiar with leaving like hot sauce or any kind of ghost pepper sauce around. But yeah, that is something we do share with the bear sprays, that if you do discharge that pepper spray, it's safest to leave the area in case any animals come wandering and are curious of what that smell actually is.
okay. So,
Mhm.
on the one hand, it can immediately ward off a bear, or I guess, stall things. But you also want to be careful because at some point, other animals are going to want to check it out.
Absolutely. Bear
Okay.
spray is one of those forms of defense that you can have. It's one of those safety measures that it's always good to have. You never hope to use it, of course, but in those instances where you're left and you don't have many options and a bear is taking that interest in you, bear spray is the most effective way to keep yourself safe. And there are, best practices in how to handle bear spray, and it's not always going to be a safety measure if you're not familiar with how to use bear spray or you haven't handled it before. So making sure you actually are aware of how the can works and become comfortable with it before you use it if you are actually carrying it out in the backcountry.
Right, that's true, because just having it there with you, if you don't know what to do, should you need it, it's not really much help, is it? What's the best practice people should really keep in mind?
Yeah, best practice is that when you buy a can, they do come with a cable tie or a zap strap around the trigger. That actually needs to be cut off before you go out into nature, because there's going to be no way to actually get that off in the moment. And you do want to become comfortable with taking off the safety, using bear spray. The goal is to be able to grab it out of your holster and discharge it within 2 seconds. That's kind of your ballpark for how you want to be able to handle bear spray. But if you're in areas where you can't carry bear spray, because you do want to make sure that you're following bylaws and legally you're doing everything you should be, you want to make sure that you're keeping your surroundings, kind of, you're taking note of everything around you. Look out for scratches on the tree. Maybe there's some scat that you might see. If you see a carcass, please leave that area. You might also be able to make some noise, stick together as a group. The larger group you have out there, the safer you are. Groups of 1 or 2 people are at most risk of a wildlife attack, specifically with bears.
Okay, that's
Uh,
really useful
yeah.
to know. Okay, so more than a group of more than two would be ideal.
Mhm.
Okay, and make noises. Is that true?
Make noises. Yeah,
Yeah.
make some noise out there. That lets the animals in the area know that you're visiting for the day, and it gives them that heads up to move away from us, because they do have that natural fear of humans, and that's what keeps wild animals safe a lot of the time. So yeah, making any kind of noises, clapping, yelling, singing, responsibly, a responsible amount, air horns.
It's
You
not
do want to be
karaoke time.
That's right. Yeah, you do want to be careful around the use of whistles and bear bells. And that's just because there have been some kind of situations, studies, whatnot, out there that actually shows that grizzly bears in particular might actually be attracted to these noises, because
Mm.
whistles are actually communication sound for a lot of small mammals, weasels and badgers and things, and they hunt those creatures. So bear bells and whistles aren't loud enough. They don't actually make a jarring enough noise to let the animals in the area kind of know that something's going on and to leave. So that's why you want to make some kind of abrupt, louder noise.
Really excellent advice here. Thank you so much. Gabriela De Romeri is my guest from Wild Safe BC, taking your calls, asking you, have you sighted a bear already? Or what are some bear encounters you've had? Let us know what are the precautions that you take as well. 1 800 825 5950 604 669 3733. Oh, let's head up to somewhere where a friend of mine has already seen a bear in North Vancouver, and Chris is joining us. Hi, Chris.
Hi there.
Hi, and tell us about an encounter that you've had.
Well, I normally take when I take my granddaughter to daycare. She's only 2.5. We normally stop by this little creek area. It's down behind Windsor School in North Vancouver in the Deep Cove area.
And is this
And-
currently, like this season, Chris, or
And this happened 2 days ago.
2 days ago? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm still kind of shaking when I'm talking about it because we normally go down there and I give her a little treat and something to drink, and then we have this quiet time where we sort of listen to the water and then listen for the different types of birds. And so that was one thing we did. We weren't noisy. We were very quiet. The other thing was the stream, the normal, we were sort of downwind from the bear. So the bear couldn't smell us, the bear couldn't hear us. So we get up to go, and all of a sudden, right in front of us, probably 4 meters away, is this, mangy-looking black bear that looks like he's been sleeping for a bit and probably pretty hungry. There's no berries around, so I'm just wondering where his food source is. And I've got this little 2.5-year-old in my hand, and so I say to her, "We've got to make ourselves look big." And so we spread out. I spread out my hand, holding hers, and then she had a little stuffy in the other hand, and she's waving the stuffy, and we just started yelling, "Get away, get away, go back, go back." And sure enough, the bear just sort of headed up the main trail and then cut into the woods again, and we we were safe. But it's interesting. My daughter, I was telling her, dropped my granddaughter off at daycare, and then I mentioned to the lady who was taking care of her that she's had this incident happen, but she was fine with it. It was me that was shaking. but my daughter said, "Did you pick her up?" My grandchild. And I said, "No." I said, "We wanted to make ourselves look big, and I don't know how you could do that if you've got a grandchild cocooned in your arms." So anyway, that might be something just to talk about. I think if you make yourself look big, I think, especially if there's more of you, I think the bear automatically just goes away. And he kind of hustled up the trail, and to get across and away from us.
And you tried to make loud noises as well, so that I'm sure that.
Yes, I was yelling at it. I was yelling. She wasn't, but I was yelling at the bear, and
You're still shaky about it, Chris.
Well, it was a really close encounter like this, and I'm just thinking the bear looked pretty mangy. Look, I've been sleeping on one side a lot, and I've got this little 2.5-year-old little appetizer in my hand here. So I just thought, I was a little bit shaky after. I've never had an encounter that close to a bear, and especially after they've been hibernating and they're, all those things are running through your mind as you're in this situation.
In the moment. Oh my goodness, Chris, glad everything, worked out well. I'll ask that question about, what is the best way to make yourself look big? But it sounds like you've done a lot well and right. And glad to know that your 2.5-year-old granddaughter is just fine.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell my story.
Yes, thank you very much for calling. Yes, Gabriella, he was wondering there what would have been the best way. I mean, thankfully that all worked out. But if you're trying to make yourself big, you are with children. A lot of families go out for hikes with little children. What is the best advice there?
Yeah, it actually sounds like he did a lot of things correctly, which is awesome. You do want to make some noise if a bear's approaching you. You want to talk in a low, deep voice. You do want to avoid eye contact. You do want to make yourself look larger. So if you have a group of people with you, try and stick together as a group. Open your jackets up. That's especially very, very effective when it comes to actually other types of wildlife, like cougars. We talk about making yourself look big a lot of the time with cougars as well.
And should he have picked her up then? Could you do that?
You could, yeah. We recommend, at least with cougars, when you have pets and small children with you, to pick them up. And that's because those smaller beings, whether it be a pet or a child, can actually be potentially mistaken as a type of prey, right? So you can pick them up just to ensure that, if an animal does approach, that you have control over the situation, that you're not, dragging a poor toddler behind you or something.
Yes, I know that when I've gone with my little kids, it was always, come back here, don't go off ahead of us, because you're moving very quickly as well, right? So that can easily be mistaken for a little bit of prey. Dale, we're going to go back to North Vancouver, and Dale is joining us now. Hi, Dale.
Hello, how are you?
We are just fine. And how are you? What kind of experience have you had when it comes to bears?
I've lived in Ontario quite a bit, and I've seen a few black bears there, and I've lived here for over 20 years now. And I've seen in North Van quite a few bears, and if you carry, like me, I have a bad back, I use a walking stick, and if you swing it in the air, a lot of the times the bear will either scent you or see you, and you do look larger if you're swinging something. You bring a garbage bag or something like that, tie it to the end of the stick if you got time, and wave that around, and make a lot of noise, and they'll take off. But it is their area, and I was talking to people from up north, too, that were saying that it is absolutely terrible up north, that all the bears are totally emaciated because there is no food for them. So they are coming, into our little cities and towns, and I have a bad feeling it's going to be a bad year for bears. But another reason I'm calling is on Friday I was coming home from a 10 o'clock walk with my little black chihuahua who looks like a little squirrel. And out of the blue, I saw this animal coming straight at me and, going, I guess, for prey. And I thought, what on earth is it? And I was close enough that by the time I turned around, it was right on my dog. And luckily, it was not a bear. It was another dog. So my dog, being a Chihuahua, I thought would hide behind me and get away. But no, she attacked the dog, too, to protect me. Wow. And then the owner came within about half a block, called the dog took off, and she took off. And I have no idea, what the problem is with her. But
how's your Chihuahua?
Oh, she got a little puncture mark on the nose, but a little polysporin, and a couple of days later, she's okay. But I'm still shaking. And so I went to the hardware store and picked up some bear spray because I carry a knife, too, for, if I need to make a splint or anything like that when I'm out in the bush. And it's kind of useless because then you have to get close to the attacker.
Dale, oh my goodness. I'm sorry for that experience. I know you want to know if bear spray would actually work for dogs. So I'm going to ask that of Gabriella right now. Okay, thanks so much. Gabriella, bear spray, you said, it can actually attract other animals. So would it work for a situation like that with a dog instead?
Yeah, bear spray can be used on other species, not just bears. And we do educate about that as well with, if you have a cougar encounter, if you have a coyote encounter, bear spray is effective against all of those animals, just like how, we don't have mace here in Canada, but just like how pepper spray and mace works in other countries where that's used on humans, and it affects our mucous membranes as well because of that pepper ingredient. So it's effective against animals other than bears as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much for these very useful tips. I hope to speak with you again as we get further into the season.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Gabriella De Romeri is WildSafe BC's communications coordinator. It's 12:29, 1:29 in the Mountain Time Zone. You're with BC Today. And stay with CBC for more throughout the afternoon. And here's what Gloria Makarenko has planned for you later today on the Coast.
Hello there, Michelle. It's Gloria Makarenko, and I wanted to let you know what's coming up later this afternoon on the Coast at CBC Vancouver. We are going to talk with Ihor Veris. Now, the last time we spoke to him, it was in the fall. He had just placed second in a grueling backyard ultra marathon. Well, now he's just returned from an even tougher race, the infamous Barkley Marathons in Tennessee. Ihor ran for more than 58 hours. He not only finished, he came in first place. So we're looking forward to that conversation. Also, we are going to look at just how expensive it is to stay in downtown Vancouver. The Price is Right just gave away a prize to stay 6 nights in Vancouver's Cole Harbour. There was restaurants and spa access included, but 12,000 Canadian dollars? We're going to check in with a travel agent and go through that. And we've also got a little bit of a spring break survival guide for parents across the province as well. I hope you can join us for On the Coast. That's between 3 and 6 this afternoon.
Gloria, thank you. We'll be listening the Barkley Marathons. Oh my goodness, I saw that documentary on Netflix about it. It is fascinating because not only is it a real test of your physical endurance, it's very much a mental test as well because there are all these clues that you have to pick up. It's really quite something very fascinating. That will be on the Coast this afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. in Metro Vancouver. .31 now. This is BC Today on CBC Radio, CBC Television, and live streaming as well online. I'm Michelle Elliott. Great to be back with you today here on BC Today. And coming up in our next half hour, we're going to hear from a patient in Creston who recently underwent emergency surgery. We'll hear her story, but also why she really wants to thank the surgeon and the staff at Kelowna General Hospital. We want to hear from you as well. If there's a doctor or a nurse or a hospital worker, a healthcare worker who's really made an impact on you. Perhaps they made an appointment go much more easily. Perhaps they really listened to your symptoms. Want to hear from you on the open line. You can give us a call. That's all coming up after this CBC News Update. And here's Zara Premji.
Good afternoon. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is in Vancouver today, where he announced his new measures that he says will protect Canadian renters. He says these steps include a new $15 million tenant protection fund, creating a new Canadian Renters Bill of Rights, and ensuring renters get credit for on-time payments to their landlord. He says it's just one aspect of the 2024 federal budget, which will be announced next month in Ottawa. And police say they are investigating a break-in and theft of jewelry from South Surrey Mall. The RCMP say officers responded to a report of a break-in at the shopping centre just after 4 a.m. on Monday. They say officers searched the area, but the thieves had already fled the scene. Also, the province is imposing Category 2 and 3 fire bans across the central interior and north tomorrow. The Prince George, Caribou, and Northwest fire centres are prohibiting open burns generally larger than a campfire. The total area is more than half of the province. It is one of the earliest fire bans in recent memory. All right, let's take a quick look at that BC weather now. For the North Coast, strong winds and a high of 11. For the Peace, periods of rain in some sections with highs sitting around 6 degrees. For the central interior, mainly sunny for you and a high of 8. Moving over to the Boundary and Kootenay regions, it's looking like showers and a high of 6 degrees. For the Okanagan and southern interior, a slight chance of showers and a high of 9 degrees. And moving over to Metro Vancouver, Greater Victoria and the Fraser Valley, periods of rain with the risk of thunderstorms and a high of 12. That's your CBC News Update from Vancouver.
We were talking about bear encounters in our last half hour. A lot of calls, or a number of calls from North Vancouver.
Yes.
Which is, I know where you live.
That's my area, Bear County.
That's right, otherwise known as. And so have you encountered a bear or two?
Oh, Michelle, my whole phone has an album dedicated to Albert the bear that has visited us many times.
He's got a name.
Yes, and I will clarify, he visits us not for our garbage. It was one time we had a barbecue and smelled it, came, and now he just seems to feel really comfortable coming over. So we'll be watching a movie and midnight you just hear like a bang outside and you look and you're like, oh, Albert's here.
Albert's here.
So yeah, it's a family thing.
I've seen a photo that you posted.
Oh, you
of
sure
Albert.
have. Albert is huge. He's growing. I don't know if it's the same Albert every year, but it's Albert.
Let's just assume.
It's Albert.
It's like Winnie the Pooh. That's always been
exactly. He's our Winnie, but he's Albert because I love Alberta.
Oh, is that? Yes,
Exactly.
because you spent time there as well.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in North Van, and yes, I recall many times just, driving down Mount Seymour Parkway and seeing a bear just right by the side of the road there. So certainly fairly common in North Van and many other parts of BC, of course.
Of course.
Zara, thanks so much. Nice to see you.
Thank you, friend.
Zara Premji in the CBC Vancouver newsroom. Welcome back. You're with BC Today here on CBC Radio 1, CBC Television, and live streaming on the CBC News app, cbc.ca/BC, and on the CBC Vancouver YouTube page. And do call us now on our second topic. We're asking, is there a healthcare worker whom you want to thank? Is there a doctor or a nurse or a hospital worker who's made a big difference in your life? You can give us a call, 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, and you can hit pound 690 on your cell phone. Well, recently, CBC received an email from Erica Stavinga in Creston. And Erica wrote, following a week of migraines and rapid vision loss, I went to the emergency. Days later, I was sent for an MRI. They found a mass in my optic nerve. I was rushed to Kelowna Hospital that day following the results. I had major brain surgery the following day. Thanks to a wonderful medical team of doctors who took my symptoms seriously and reacted quickly, I was able to save some of my vision. I'm still mostly blind, but have hope some will return in the following months. Perfectly healthy 28-year-old lady in a week, and days later, my whole world has changed. But I had the most wonderful surgeon and staff at the Kelowna Hospital caring for me. I'm lucky to be alive. It'll be a long recovery. Now, Erica says she's been told that she was born with a rare genetic condition. As you heard, she really wants to thank the medical team that cared for her. And Erica joins me now. Hello.
Hi, thank you.
Erica, thank you so much for writing in with your story and for sharing your own ordeal that you've been through, but also the fact that you want to say thank you to the hospital. I'll ask you why you wanted to do that, but how are you feeling?
It's been a rough recovery. Starting to feel better. The last couple of days have been a bit better. Yeah, just the actual, from I guess, a craniotomy itself. It's not a fun surgery to recover from, but I'm super just overwhelmed with positivity and through the most traumatic experience. I'm so grateful for the support that I've had and my surgeon in general. I can't thank him enough for everything that he did.
And how did this all begin for you? You explained a little bit in the letter, but can you tell us, just how it all began and what happened?
It happened so quickly. I had kind of been feeling unwell, mainly just getting really bad, what I thought was a migraine. I don't normally get headaches. I'm not prone to it. And it just got more intense, and then noticed that my vision started kind of getting fuzzy and thought, there's something wrong. Like, this is not normal. So I went to the emergency, and the doctor at the emergency was, there's something neurological going on. You shouldn't kind of be losing your vision. And it was my right eye that we had noticed when he did the eye exam at the time. And he sent me for a referral right away for an MRI. And because I live in Creston, and so I had to go to the next town over for an MRI. And they contacted me in 2 days' time for an MRI. And then over the course of these 3 days, my vision was getting worse every day, and the pain in my head was getting more intense. Went for the MRI. Then the very next day, because I was told I'd have the results by the next day, I went back to the emergency to get the results, because I woke up in the morning, I couldn't even see myself in the mirror. My vision was almost gone. Everything was just bright, and it was super scary and in a lot of pain. And I went to the emergency, and they took me in right away through the triage. The doctor that was there working, he reacted immediately, looked at the results on my MRI. He didn't really know what he was seeing. He couldn't diagnose me, but he called a neurologist in Kelowna right away. And then that neurologist actually called me personally on my cell phone to get a timeline of how quickly my condition had deteriorated. And he reacted immediately. He said, "You need to be in Kelowna right now. Like, I don't even want you to go home and pack a bag. Like, we're flying you here right now, and you have this rare condition, and we need to do this emergency surgery, or you're gonna be blind for the rest of your life." It's like, that's how quickly it was deteriorated. Like, I guess the bleed was in my optic nerves. And yeah, all happened so quickly. Within, I think it was maybe an hour, I was in an airplane flying to Kelowna, and then I've since spoken his Dr. Michael So. He's the one who had called me, the neurologist, and he has since said I spoke to him on the phone 2 nights ago, and he said he worked. It was a team effort with him and Daniel Yavin. They planned and executed the surgery together, and yeah, it's so rare. I guess there's like 60 documented or reported cases in the world to have the exact thing happen, like had to have this cavernoma bleed inside your optic nerves. And yeah, he said on the phone the other night that I was maybe less than a day away from permanent blindness for the rest of my life. Like, I'm so super lucky to be at least able to still see colors and super fuzzy shapes right now, but we're optimistic that I will get some of my vision back, but it's going to be a few months till we kind of know where my new baseline is and everything.
Wow, you've been through a lot. It's quite it's remarkable how positive you still seem to be, and how much you wanted to share your thanks to Dr. Michael So. Erica, we actually have Dr. Michael So joining us right now.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, and I'd like to introduce and welcome Dr. Michael So, a neurologist, neurosurgeon at Kelowna General Hospital. Welcome, Dr. So.
Thanks, Michelle, for inviting me onto your show, and nice to see you, Erica.
Nice to hear your voice.
It's lovely to have you both. Dr. So, what goes through your mind hearing what Erica had to say there?
I'm just so flattered, and it's really unexpected. You know, we just do our job and we try to help people as best we can, and just to hear the gratitude, and it's just very, very flattering.
Can you tell us a bit about this condition and what exactly happened, just in broad terms, so people
Yes.
understand it a bit more?
Yeah, Eric has this rare, relatively rare condition called cavernoma, which is a tangle of blood vessels that sometimes can cause life-threatening brain bleeds. But hers is very unique. It's in an interoptic nerve which connects the eye to the brain. And maybe there's about over 100 cases reported worldwide historically. And so it's a very rare thing. And the acute vision decline is very, very acute. And if you don't act fast, the blindness can be permanent. And so, you know, she was deteriorating hour to hour almost. And so that's why I wanted her here in the hospital as quickly as possible in Kelowna, which is 5 hours from Creston.
Yeah.
And kudos to the Emerge Doc for reaching out quickly, the patient transfer network, getting her over here really quickly, and the very delicate surgery to get it done, as well as the ICU care and the post-op care.
I know you wanted to make sure everybody was included in the thanks, but Erica, you have Dr. So here with us now, and along with the staff, I'm sure, who may be watching and listening. What do you want to say to them?
Thank you. I've had a few medical emergencies in my history. I've had a couple of surgeries, and I've never had. I'm super grateful for our medical field and everything, but I've never had this level of care and comfort, and just through the whole thing, it's been such a scary experience with so many more questions than answers along the whole way. And the whole Kelowna hospital, it has been amazing. Every nurse that was there for me, and I'm gonna get emotional, sorry. And just, like I said, I'm so grateful to at least have that vision I have right now. And thank you so much for such a traumatic experience. It's scary, and to have the level of care and positivity, and I through all of it, it was, I'm so grateful. So thank you so much, Dr. So, for everything, for diagnosing me, taking my symptoms serious, taking the time to call me personally, and to the best outcome possible with the surgery. And I'm super grateful.
Wow, Dr. So, I imagine hearing that from a patient must just be so fulfilling and rewarding, and must bring so much meaning to your work.
It does. And, to credit Erica, she's very composed and calm. She trusted her healthcare team, and she's the positive mindset will help her in her recovery. And just to kind of comment on the public tends to focus on the shortcomings of the Canadian healthcare system, but more often, especially when someone needs an urgent intervention, the Canadian healthcare system can pull through and provide timely and excellent care. And I think Erica will do well in the long term.
Anything you want to say to Erica, Dr. So?
Well, I'm very grateful that you came to my life because, you have a very rare situation where only a few people can handle this in the world. And so we just happen to be in the right place in the right time. And I'm so happy that you still have some functional vision. And I think it will improve with time. And I think the positive mindset is really important in the healing process and continue. And obviously, we'll be in touch, in the follow-up phase.
I look forward to it. I apologize some of my details. I was trying to remember because I've been pretty doped up on morphine in the hospital, trying to remember the details of what you'd given, the information you'd given us with all your visits every day, checking in on me, trying to relay the information. I haven't been able to see well enough to try and research some of the information. I apologize. But for some of my information was slightly off from what you letting us know that, but I really, really appreciate everything, and thank you from myself, my husband, my family. Thank you for everything you've done for us.
You've done remarkably well in this interview, Erica, and I thank you for writing in and just being so gracious and generous with your story, and I wish you all the best in your recovery, and certainly you'll be in touch with Dr. So. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, both of you. All the best to you. Erica Stavenga lives in Creston, and she recently underwent emergency surgery in Kelowna. Wanted to thank the staff at Kelowna Hospital, and as well, Dr. Michael So is a neurosurgeon at Kelowna Hospital. And we're taking your own experiences as well of a healthcare worker you would like to thank. Our numbers are 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733. Oh. Just letting that story and that interaction sink in. Thank you so much to both of them for joining us. Our first caller is Bruno, who is calling from Salmon Arm. Hi, Bruno. Welcome.
Hi.
And
hi, Michelle.
Hi. Take your time. It's okay. Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank the doctor that I called this morning. What a coincidence that you're doing this. I called Dr. Zloty at what I think is called the Vancouver Cancer Center in the hospital district. And I went there 365 days ago, March 27th, for my second basal cell carcinoma procedure on my left side of my face. And they cut me pretty radical, and I didn't know how much it was going to be, 7.5-hour procedure. That absolutely floored me. And 4 people on the team to do it. And a man from England with a long, beautiful Sikh beard, and a lady from Montreal, a Quebecois lady. They were learning the procedure. They were both qualified surgeons. So I was a little taken back. 7.5 hours, 4 surgeons, and we took breaks. We took a morning break and a lunch break and an afternoon break, which I just didn't even know that happens during surgery. And they just kind of covered my face real good when I went for a break and to the bathroom and such.
Oh, that was to let you kind of, just to make things a little bit easier for you.
And for them, they had to use the restroom. They had to put a little bit in their belly. So it was a totally new experience having that length of procedure. And then they put a compression bandage on, which looked like right out of the movies. I mean, it... Best I can describe it, because I said, what do I do? And they said, what do you mean? I said, do I just walk out of here? They said, well, didn't you walk here? I said, yeah. So I was staying at Wonderful Rotary Lodge. He said, well, just walk out of here, Bruno. I said, can I go walking around Vancouver? It's beautiful in this part of the... They said, sure, if you feel all right. And I felt great. So, yeah. So, and now 1 year later, I called Dr. Zloty's office this morning and left a long message thanking him and his team for what they did. And could I please quick say, Dr. Juanita Crook, I don't think it's a stretch to say at the Kelowna Cancer Center 5 years ago, she saved my life. And if not, Michelle, it's very close, because when I got diagnosed, I was so advanced with prostate cancer that they couldn't start radiating me. I didn't understand it, but now I kind of do. I was so full of cancer, they had to put me on a pill called bicalutamide, which they give to women for breast cancer to lower their estrogen, and they give it to men with prostate to lower their testosterone. So cancer does not respond very good to radiation when your estrogen level's high or your testosterone level high. So 7 months I took a pill, and I tried not to worry, but I couldn't help it.
And what difference did Dr. Crook make, Bruno?
Oh, big difference. She's one of the early proponents of brachytherapy, and since the radiation didn't get rid of all the cancer, she called me at my home, and the radiation sickness had subsided after 12 days. She says, "You ready to come back?" I said, "Why?" She says, "Bruno, you're not done. You got to get brachytherapy." And I was scared of it. They inject pellets in your prostate. In my case, 86 pellets the size of a grain of rice, radioactive with iodine 125 isotopes.
You've been through a lot, Bruno.
That's to kill the cancer. So thank you, Dr. Winnie Crook, and your whole staff at the Kelowna Cancer Center.
Wow.
Thank you for letting me say this, because it's just such a cool coincidence that I called Dr. Zloty this morning. So.
And what a gracious gesture to call the doctor after 1 year as well. Bruno, all the best to you. I'm so glad that after all, you've been through a lot. So after all of that, that you are doing well. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you.
Thank you. Thanks to CBC Radio. Okay.
You take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's Bruno in Salmon Arm. David is our next caller now. We are talking about thanking healthcare workers who have made a big difference in our lives. And David is joining us from New West. Hello.
Oh, hi there. Hard to follow Erica and Bruno's story there. I'll keep this very brief. I was at Eagle Ridge Hospital in the early hours of Monday morning with my daughter, and we had a nurse there by the name of Andrea, who she was just spectacular. I'm of the opinion that our governments have really failed us in the last 30 or 40 years with regards to the healthcare system, but I still believe that we have the best nurses and doctors in the world, and Andrea, and I believe it was Dr. Justin that proof to that. And
what did she do? What did she do, David, that really stood out for you?
Well, it's just her mannerism. I'm not going to get into any details, but she was just so comforting for my daughter, and just wanted to say thank you and to tell her thanks for the ice lollies. I know what I mean.
I know about ice lollies too. David, thank you very much. Andrea, if you're listening at Eagle Ridge Hospital, that's a thank you from David. And you're right, just the mannerism, the empathy that a nurse, especially in a busy hospital, can exhibit with your daughter, that just really can be very reassuring and make all the difference in the world. So thank you very much for the call, David. And we're taking more of your calls to say thank you to a healthcare worker who's made a big difference in your life. Julie is up next now in Vancouver. Hi, Julie.
Hi there. How are you doing today?
I am fine, and I'm just really touched by these stories. And is there someone you'd like to thank?
Definitely. My husband was admitted to Burnaby General Hospital on January the 13th. He fell and broke his hip, unfortunately, and he was in Burnaby General for 12 days, and the nurses there and the doctors and the surgeon, Dr. Roberts, and the assistant surgeon, they just looked after my husband so well. And then he was sent to Holy Family Rehabilitation Hospital in Vancouver. And again, the nurses and the doctors and the physiotherapists and occupational therapists were just absolute angels, like Burnaby General and Holy Family Hospital. They deserve so much more, praise. can't thank all of them enough for just the wonderful care that they provide. They are just such hardworking individuals, and my thing is that if hospitals require support, financial support, doesn't matter how much you can give, but honestly, if each and every person can give a certain amount, I highly would suggest it, because you only know when someone gets sick or has an accident and needs the care, that you're in wonderful hands.
That's a great. I have to get in another caller, Julie, but
Sure.
How inspiring, and I'm so glad that your husband had such wonderful care. Thank you very much.
Yes. No problem at all.
And
Thank you.
a push there, a bid to have people, think about donating. Thank you very much, Julie. I'm going to go quickly to Robin. I have just 1 minute, but I know you want to thank some people. Hi, Robin.
Yes, I just had total hip replacement at UBC Hospital. Dr. Lisa Howard was my surgeon, but I really want to thank Dr. Klein, who was my anesthesiologist. The last time I had a hip replaced, they try a local anesthetic, and I have a lot of arthritis, so they couldn't get into my spine very easily, and it was so painful. And before my surgery, I got to talk to Dr. Klein and explain that to him. We compromised on that he would give it a try. If it didn't work, I'd get a general. He was so gentle. It wasn't even painful, but he couldn't get in. I did get a general. But the way that he treated me like a whole person, it just means the world to me. I won't be so scared of surgery in future.
Robin, thank you very much. And I know that it's emotional to just be treated in that way, the respect to your humanity as you go through this. Thank you very much. All the best to you. Thank you for all of your calls, really touching calls this afternoon.